Cancers, welcome to your weekly Sidereal Astrology forecast. This is for the 7th through the 13th of November 2016. I'm Athen, and this channel is about using the actual constellations in the sky known as Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different, which means your sign might be different, and you'll want to be watching this for the correct sign. All right, so Cancer, this week we have a lot of things shifting. We've got planets changing sign, 3 of them in fact. Mars is going into your 7th house of relationships. Venus is going into your 6th house of your routine. And at the end of the week on Saturday, Mercury is going into your 5th house of self-expression. And this whole quadrant, in fact, is already really emphasized for you, which we'll talk about. But let's go and look at this at the beginning of the week, right? We got Mars going into your 7th. This is a good motivation here, I think, is relationships. You know, what motivates you about relationships? How you can bring in a bit of that cooperation into your life, working with others, a bit of give and take. You know, Mars is a very independent planet. You know, it rules the 1st house. It's about our own personal needs and, you know, doing things because they're important to us. But when Mars goes into the 7th, it's really good to find the balance between the two, you know, because they're really one and the same. I mean, what's actually right for you is what's actually right for everyone involved. And what's actually right for everyone involved is actually what's right for you. I mean, it's easier to see it from your own perspective. So doing things that are important for you in relationships, maybe getting a bit of that, you know, focusing on those personal needs if you feel like that's been lacking, or being maybe a bit direct when needing to be in those relationships. And I think that can help you maybe bring some of that in if you feel like it's needing that. If it's an over extreme, if you feel like there's a lot of more on the focus of your needs, then maybe a bit of the cooperation, you know, maybe a bit of the tact and harmony and finding the middle path, middle ground with others, and bringing a bit of balance there. So depending on that, it's really a synergy of both, and focusing on both the independence and the relationships in one. Now, when it comes to Venus in your 6th house means maybe you can be enjoying now this week and going into the next few weeks a bit of the routine, a bit of the work. Health, diet, regimens, all this can be, I think, enjoyable. Venus does rule your 4th, so maybe improving things around home, maybe improving your aspirations could certainly be possible. And the dispositor of that Venus is Virgo, which means that really the key to all of this is really getting into the practical side of things. And this is really the emphasis now, is how you can bring in the practical side to the work, into the routine, into the diet, the regimens, whatever it is you're doing on that daily level. And learning about it, maybe even too, which is the 3rd house in Jupiter. There's a lot to learn. You know, it's an excellent time for practicality. But anyways, enjoying it nonetheless, and connecting to it nonetheless. Now, early in the week, we do have the Sun sextiling up to Pluto, and so this is some positive change here, or can be some positive change, with your roots. And this has really been the key focus, I think, for you, and will continue to be, in terms of it's really a great time to be learning more about where you come from, who you are, connecting to your roots. And could be spending time with family, could be spending time at home, maybe focusing on your health as well, you know, your body. But whatever that is, continuing to focus on that, because that's this whole lunar cycle. And in fact, next week, right at the beginning on Monday, we're going to have a full moon, which means this week is a culminating week. As things unfold, there's more momentum, there's more energy, there's more awareness. And this is particularly the case for you because your ruler, the moon, you know, is gaining this energy with the sun, with all that vital life force bouncing off of it. So, you know, you guys really follow that lunar cycle, and it's a high point, especially by week's end. Especially energetically as well. And this is going to be a culmination of, like I said, your roots. Also a lot of what you're learning, I feel like, if you've been involved with that. And either way, I think it's so great for you to be doing anything that's involving learning or communication with Jupiter in the 3rd. But it's also a culmination of your career on one hand. It's going to be very close to Aries. And also in regards to your aspirations. The full moon will be technically in Taurus. So this is the time where 6 months ago, you may have started something new with your aspirations, or maybe started something new with your career. And so now it's coming ahead. It's a high point with that, and a really good week's end to do the status check. See, how's your career going? How's your aspirations going? What's working? What's not? And how you can continue to cultivate and put positive energy into that. And again, I think it's by finding the balance with all of that and your home life and your roots and the importance of these things, which is the Sun in the 4th, and maybe even two, your sense of self-worth and self-reliance, because this is, first of all, the sun, who does rule your second house, but your north node's been in your second house, and this has really been the undercurrent to this whole year and really the next year as well, in a sense that there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn about the importance of self-reliance, about standing on your own 2 feet, about cultivating your values in life and pursuing the things you enjoy in life. And that's what the second house is fundamentally about. And with the North Node, it's about learning. But to do that, there has been some unhealthy things, I think, being brought to the surface that has to do with others, let's say others' resources or debts or unhealthy bonds and things like that. Because the South Node in the 8th is saying, and especially this week, because Neptune's going to be very close to that South Node, they're going to go exact next week. There's a lot of old patterns being released here when it comes to the deeper stuff, when it comes to the shared stuff. If it's unhealthy, it's about bringing balance back to this area. And so if it does have to do with resources, if it does have to do with the, shared things, it's about seeing how you can bring balance back to this area. In other words, are there some unhealthy things occurring right now having to do with shared resources, having to do with debts, having to do with bonds? And if there is, it's an excellent week, and especially next week, maybe make some changes with that, right? To bring some balance back to this area. Maybe a lot of it's idealistic, it's involving Neptune. Or maybe it's lethargic. Sometimes it's an over extreme of Neptune, which is idealism, or an under extreme, which is more of the lethargy and not wanting to do anything. So however that's manifesting for you, it's a great week to ask yourself if there's anything unhealthy about the shared stuff, about things you're attached to, or things that are attached to you, in the sense that you can break those chains, free yourself up, and really get into what's important to your values, what's important to you becoming more self-reliant and cultivating the things that you enjoy in life, and finding the balance. Because of course, there's interdependency. We live in an interdependent world. Of course, we have to rely on others, but we want to do that in a balanced and healthy way. All right, so that's that backdrop to the week with that conjunction and the North Node and all that. Now, as we get into the week's end, Mercury is going to be changing sign as well. Mercury's going into your 5th house, which has been a quite serious area. If you've been feeling this year like your self-expression has been limited, or you're having to really work hard on your self-expression, things that are normally fun and playful and entertaining, really gets this serious connotation with Saturn. But now you got Mercury in here, so this is about, I think, learning about self-expression, communicating yourself, I think, in a passionate way going into next week. Maybe a bit of this imagination as well. I think it's a very creative sort of thing, because Mercury does rule your 12th. And the 12th house ruler going into the 5th means that there's a lot of creative energy here, both of the imagination and also with the self-expression. So if there has been anything you've been building with the creative side or your self-expressive side, I think it's great to do that no matter what. But Mercury can come in here and help you learn more about it, really work with it on a tangible way, and all in all, just express yourself. All right, so that's going to be the week's end, as well as Chiron trining the sun. So there's some freshness, a bit of rejuvenation this weekend. Might have to do with the self-expression, but it might have to do with these roots again: home, family, health. This is a new chapter for you, and you got some positive energy that weekend. So Cancer, the most fundamental thing I think about this week is that it's a full moon type of week, at least in terms of the ending of it. As things unfold, there's more fullness, there's more momentum, more awareness. A lot of it has to do with these roots. It's a great time to be focused on that. Great time to do the status check over the weekend. And things are shifting. And what's shifting, I think, is where there can be a bit of independence in relationships, but it can also motivate you and maybe take some action, directness in those relationships. Maybe enjoying a bit of the routine, the health, the diet, the regimens. That's Venus in the 6th. And again, with Mercury in the 5th, the shift to focus of expressing yourself and taking that stuff seriously. All right, Cancer, so have a fantastic week. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next week.